On the night of October 22, 1989, in the small town of St. Joseph, Minnesota, 11-year-old Jacob Wetterling was abducted at gunpoint while riding home from a convenience store with his younger brother Trevor and best friend Aaron. This single moment plunged the Wetterling family into a nightmare that would span nearly 3 decades. Despite extensive searches, countless tips, and nationwide attention, Jacob remained missing, leaving his family and community devastated. It would take 27 long years before the truth about what happened to Jacob would finally be uncovered. A revelation that shocked the nation and exposed a chilling series of crimes that had been hiding in plain sight. The night Jacob Wetterling was taken, Jacob, Trevor, and Aaron had been riding their bikes to rent a movie at a local convenience store called Tom Thumb, excited about a small adventure after dark. They had no idea that their simple evening excursion would end in a life-altering tragedy. On their way back, a man emerged from a driveway, blocking their path. He threatened the boys with a gun, ordered them into a ditch, and demanded they turn off their flashlight. Then the man asked the boys their ages. After hearing that Trevor was 10, he was told to run away. Jacob and Aaron, aged 11 and 12, were then forced to lie face down in the dirt, while the man decided who to take. The man selected Jacob, grabbed him, and told Aaron to run. As Aaron and Trevor sprinted through a cornfield, terrified for their lives, they looked back but saw nothing. Jacob was gone, and so was the man. That was the last time anyone saw Jacob Wetterling alive. A frantic search and a community in shock. The aftermath of Jacob's abduction sent shockwaves through St. Joseph and the entire nation. Law enforcement agencies, including the FBI and the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, immediately joined the search. The area where Jacob had been taken was scoured, and helicopters with searchlights flew overhead. However, despite their best efforts, there was no trace of Jacob. The crime scene yielded a few clues. Tire tracks and footprints were found, but they led nowhere. The investigators interviewed neighbors, registered sex offenders, and even searched nearby hotels, but nothing led them closer to finding Jacob. As days turned into weeks, the Wetterling family held out hope that Jacob might still be alive, praying for his safe return. Yet, as the weeks turned into months, and then years, the case went cold, and Jacob's fate remained a heartbreaking mystery. The Paynesville Connection, a pattern of assaults. In the months following Jacob's abduction, police received reports from a nearby town called Paynesville about a series of attacks on young boys. From 1986 to 1988, at least 8 boys had been assaulted by a masked man who used threatening language similar to the one Jacob's brother and friend had described. The assaults had taken place just 28 miles from St. Joseph, raising the possibility that the same man was responsible for both the Paynesville attacks and Jacob's abduction. One of the Paynesville victims, Chris Burleson, came forward to the police just 2 days after Jacob went missing, explaining that he had experienced something similar. However, law enforcement failed to follow up on this crucial lead. The connection between the Paynesville attacks and Jacob's kidnapping went largely unexplored for years, an oversight that would haunt the investigation. Jared Shire's case, a missed opportunity. In January 1989, 10 months before Jacob was taken, another young boy named Jared Shire was kidnapped and assaulted in Cold Spring, a town just 10 miles from St. Joseph. The man who abducted Jared used similar tactics, threatening the boy with a gun and telling him to run after the assault. Despite Jared's detailed description of the perpetrator and his car, the case went cold and no arrests were made. Decades later, DNA evidence recovered from Jared's clothing would play a pivotal role in solving Jacob's case. But at the time, the connection between Jared's assault and Jacob's abduction was not fully realized, and another potential lead went cold. Danny Heinrich, the key suspect hiding in plain sight. In 1990, police received a tip about a man named Danny Heinrich who lived in Paynesville. Heinrich had been previously questioned in relation to the Painesville assaults, and when investigators looked into him further, they found several disturbing connections. His car matched the description of the vehicle seen near the site of Jared Shirl's abduction, and his shoe size matched the footprints found at Jacob's abduction site. However, despite these red flags, Heinrich was ruled out as a suspect after Jared could not definitively identify him in a police lineup. The decision to drop Heinrich as a suspect in 1990 would prove to be a tragic misstep. For nearly 30 years, Heinrich remained free, and it wasn't until 2015, when police revisited the Painesville cases, that Heinrich once again came under suspicion. This time, a DNA test from Jared's case linked Heinrich to the assault. Investigators obtained a search warrant for Heinrich's home, where they found a trove of child pornography, surveillance photos of young boys, and other incriminating evidence. The confession. Jacob's fate revealed. Faced with mounting evidence and the possibility of a long prison sentence, Heinrich struck a deal with prosecutors. In exchange for a reduced sentence on child pornography charges, Heinrich agreed to confess to Jacob's kidnapping and murder and lead authorities to his remains. In a chilling confession, Heinrich admitted to abducting Jacob at gunpoint, driving him to a remote gravel pit, and assaulting him. When a police car drove by, Heinrich panicked and shot Jacob twice in the head. He buried Jacob's body in a shallow grave near the gravel pit, but returned a year later to move the remains to a farm nearby. On September 1, 2016, Heinrich led investigators to the site where he had reburied Jacob's body. After nearly 3 decades of uncertainty, Jacob's remains were finally recovered, bringing an end to the long, painful search. The aftermath, healing, and justice. The discovery of Jacob's body brought a mix of heartbreak and relief to the Wetterling family. For 27 years, they had lived with the hope that Jacob might one day come home. The truth was devastating, but it also allowed the family to begin the long process of healing. In an emotional statement, Jacob's mother, Patty Wetterling, expressed gratitude for the support they had received over the years and renewed her commitment to advocating for missing and exploited children. Danny Heinrich was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison for child pornography, and although he confessed to Jacob's murder, he was not prosecuted for the crime due to the terms of his plea deal. Many were outraged that Heinrich would not face justice for Jacob's death, but the deal ensured that Jacob's remains were found, allowing his family to lay him to rest. A legacy of hope. Jacob Wetterling's abduction and the subsequent investigation brought national attention to the issue of missing and exploited children. In 1994, the Jacob Wetterling Act was passed, establishing the first federal law requiring sex offender registration. This law would later serve as the foundation for other national initiatives aimed at protecting children. While Jacob's case ended in tragedy, his legacy continues to inspire efforts to prevent similar crimes and bring missing children home. The Wetterling family's advocacy has helped countless families, and Jacob's story remains a powerful reminder of the importance of hope, resilience, and the pursuit of justice. If you found this video insightful and want to stay updated on more true crime stories and the latest developments, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update on the content we bring to you. Thank you for your support.